Electricity and circuits. Electricity is a special kind of energy that helps many things work around us like lights, TVs, and toys. It travels in tiny particles called electrons through wires called circuits to power things. A circuit is like a path or loop that electricity follows. If the path is complete and closed, electricity flows and makes things work like lighting a bulb. If the path is broken, the electricity stops. What is electricity? Electricity is all about tiny particles called electrons that are moving. Think of them like super small runners. Everything around you, including you, is made of even tinier bits called atoms. Inside these atoms are those electrons. When we make these electrons move from one place to another, that movement is what we call electricity. Imagine a line of people holding hands. If one person pushes the person next to them, that push travels all the way down the line. Electrons are a bit like that. When they start moving, they push other electrons, and this flow of pushing creates electricity. This moving electricity can power all sorts of things. It can make a light bulb glow, make your toaster hot, or make your radio play sound. It's just those little moving electrons doing all the work. There are two types of electricity: static electricity and current electricity. Static electricity. Let's talk about static electricity. You know how we just learned about electrons moving. Well, sometimes electrons can get a bit stuck in one place. Imagine you are rubbing a balloon on your hair. This is what you feel when you rub a balloon on your hair and it sticks, or when you get a small shock after walking on carpet. The charge just builds up in one place and jumps to another. Current electricity. Current electricity is the kind we use all the time. Remember those moving electrons. When we make them move in a steady flow, usually through a path like a wire, that's current electricity. Think of it like a river. The water in the river is constantly flowing from one place to another. In current electricity, the electrons are like the water flowing through a river made of wire. When they flow into something like a light bulb, they make it light up. What is a circuit? So, how do we make those electrons flow in a steady path to power things? We use something called a circuit. A circuit is like a complete loop or a racetrack for electrons. They start at a power source like a battery, zoom through wires, go through something they power like a light bulb, and then return to the battery to start all over again. For electricity to flow, the path has to be complete like a circle. This is called a closed circuit. If there is any break in the path, the electrons can't flow and the light won't turn on. Open versus closed circuit. We talked about a closed circuit where electricity flows. But what happens if the path is not complete? Think of a drawbridge. When the bridge is down, cars can drive across. That's like a closed circuit and electricity flows. But if the drawbridge is up, cars can't cross. That's like an open circuit. When a circuit is open, perhaps because a switch is turned off, the path for the electrons is broken and electricity cannot flow. That's why your light bulb won't turn on if the switch is off. So, what do we need to build a simple circuit? There are four main parts. Power source. This is what gives the electrons their energy to start moving like a battery. Wires. These are like the roads or paths that the electrons travel along. Load. This is the thing that uses the electricity like a light bulb that lights up or a motor that spins. Switch. This is like a tiny drawbridge. It can open or close the circuit to start or stop the flow of electricity. When all these parts are connected correctly, you have a working circuit. How electricity reaches home. You might be wondering, how does all that electricity get to our homes to power our lights and TVs? It starts at a big place called a power station. This is where a lot of electricity is made. Electricity is made in power stations from fuels, sun, water, or wind, and then sent through huge wires called transmission lines to homes, schools, and buildings. In your home, when you flip a light switch, the switch completes the circuit and electricity flows, making the light work. Simple, kid friendly experiment light bulb circuit. Materials required: one small light bulb, battery, two pieces of wire, and electrical tape. First step is to strip the ends of wires to show the metal inside. Attach one end of a wire to the battery's positive side and tape it. Attach the other end of the same wire to the metal base of the light bulb. Attach one end of the second wire to the bottom of the bulb. Finally, touch the other end of the second wire to the battery's negative side. When the wire touches the battery, the circuit is complete and the bulb lights up. This shows how electricity flows through a circuit to power a light. Electricity and circuits let us use and control energy safely every day. By building a simple circuit, kids discover how electricity needs a complete path to make gadgets work. Electricity is all around us, making our gadgets and homes work, and learning about circuits helps children see how that energy travels in a path to turn things on or off. The experiment is simple and safe, demonstrating the basic idea of electricity and circuits in a fun way.